So, gentlemen, before we get started, I have a message, and that message starts right now.
So, John Wolf, as you can see, I'm running Yakuza on battery on the 1X Player X1 on battery, meaning I don't need to be tethered to any type of wall outlet.
All right, I see exactly what's going on here. We started off with slander. Okay.
And I decided to run.
No,
This
sir.
is what we're doing.
Yakuza
I'm here to
6,
take elbows.
which uses a newer engine
Is that what we're
compared
doing?
to the old ones, to show you that my 1X Player X1 can definitely run and do things better than the raw Can I Ally.
Oof. Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, good morning,
Sir,
good afternoon,
I
good
came to
evening.
collect. I told you weren't going to know when it was coming, and I came to collect. And I want those elbows nicely greased up so you can walk around, and just kind of, like those things in Stellar Blade, so you can just like crawl and everything with no elbows and no knees.
Time out. If you think that you're gonna come on my show,
here you go,
and you think that you're gonna promote an Intel-based tablet that it can run, run the game.
I even used the new Yakuza that uses the Like a Dragon engine, which is not even the same one. So I told you I was going to come, and you said it could not run Yakuza. Don't try to overbore me with these stipulations. I showed you on the X1 that the newest Yakuza, not even the 6, that uses the Dragon engine, not the old engine, is running at above 60 FPS on battery, not tethered to a battery, waiting for the ROG Ally X. So, sir, deliver those elbows, sir. I'll send you an ice pack.
Wait a minute. Are you sure you weren't on an eGPU there?
We now see.
No, you can see the video. You can see the video.
Have any video.
I don't know.
I made sure that I showed you the top of. I showed you everything.
I don't know.
It's there. It's in the
Flood.
video.
Hey, Flood, wait a minute. Are we sure he wasn't using Moonlight to stream it from his 4090?
Oh, Lord.
Negative,
there
sir.
There go. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Your elbows are mine, sir. Thank you.
Man.
Okay. Add that to your name.
We'll have to look a little bit deeper into this. Pause.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Gaming Circle podcast, the podcast where not only do we collect some knees from time to time. This is why Mr. John Wolf has no video. He's like this right now.
Oh, yes.
We are also here to demystify the monolith, sometimes known as PCMR. And I am, of course, your host, K. Asante, Mr. TKO Asante, in all the places we communicate. And, of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Latino Heat himself, the man who's a little bit, he's a few inches shorter this evening.
For various reasons.
For various reasons. We'll keep reason number one you just saw. Other reasons we'll keep that one to ourselves.
Yeah.
How you doing this evening, sir?
Oh man, I'm doing great. It's great to be on here. As you can tell, I'm Jay Dark. Was super excited to come on here and prove to me that a tablet can run Yakuza. Okay, an Intel-based tablet.
Indeed.
So I'll have to do a little bit of homework on that.
And what is the ROG? Ouya?
Hey, man.
Stop it. We're going to have a conversation about the ROG, by the way. That's to come. We're going to do that.
But
of course.
Let me just say this, Kay. It's nice to be here. I know you're about to introduce them with Floodzilla, Mr. AKA AMD himself. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But go ahead, Kay. I'll let you finish doing the introductions.
So I will, of course, introduce the returning champion, Latin Quarters himself, the handheld king, Mr. MJ Dark. What's good, brother? How you doing this evening, sir?
I'm good, thanks. You know what?
Can you read that? Can you read that right there? We have informed.
I wouldn't know anything about
that. Here's one caveat to that right there. I was running that at 1600p. Can the ROG Ally do that?
Hey, we have informed customers here.
I just want to let you know. Can the ROG Ally run Yakuza on the native screen at 1600p?
Technically, it can't because the ROG Ally does not have a 1600p screen, but that's neither here nor there, sir. Let us move forward.
But thank you. But
we are also.
I see we got Ragoons in the chat. You know,
we're also here to introduce making his podcasting debut. Great member of our community, Some know him as the Penguin, representing Team Red, which
don't say Team Blue. Come on, man.
BBL FSR.
Floodzilla, what's going on, Flood? How you doing, sir?
Yo, shout out to XCSS. Let's go.
Oh, here we go.
I didn't even know what that means.
Sir, it looks cleaner than FSR. I can tell you for that, man.
Oh,
Hey,
look like you got a beard when using FSR, man.
I'm getting it in right now on XCSS. Man. I love it.
I
Greetings. to
appreciate you
Benador.
being
I
here,
really appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me. It's a great honor.
Oh, of course, brother. You've been in the community. You've been hanging out with us for so long. It's only right that you jump on here and
long overdue.
Put your slander on screen rather than in the chat. You know what I'm saying?
Long overdue.
Ready,
and Flood knows all about my various rants that we have on Discord, which that's a cheap plug. We were chatting it up about what Call of Duty on Game Pass the other day. He knows how we do it on that Discord. So
speaking of
join the Switch chat.
Down.
I will put the link in the chat. If you are not part of our Discord, think about joining the Discord. You know, we have a lot of fun chats in there. We get a little slanderous in there. Well, we leave the PG-13 to the edge, and then we kind of go further than that. So join us in the Discord. Have some fun with us. We will get this thing started in earnest. Usually I don't do it on this show, but you know what? I kind of wanna because I have the handheld king here as well as Flood. What are you guys playing? I'll start with you, Flood. What are you playing these days?
I'm literally just got done before I got on the show. So I was playing Horizon Forbidden West on PC. Maxed out
the man. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna maximize his volume because people need to hear him talk about the greatness. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, because he's about to put him to sleep. That's
bro. I just fell asleep. Is the show over? I just fell asleep.
Continue. You want to tell us all about Aloy and her?
Bro, Aloy looks so fuzzy with FSR and everything. Yeah, go.
Oh, there's no FSR on, brother. There's no FSR on. This is all native. All native,
natty, as they say.
All natty.
There is no RT in the game. I'm running it all native. 7900 XTX, 7800 X3D. Let's go.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Do you have a 10 next to you as you fall asleep in the Forbidden West?
I will say this. I will say it is a sleeper. That's why I never got the DLC. So I'm trying it again. I'm going to try to get through it.
I actually finished the DLC a week ago. I finally got to that scene that everybody's all like ooh about. I finally got there.
Yeah, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I'm going to get
there.
I'm going to get there.
That's right. Yep.
Other than that, Tales of Kintara Zao, I'm enjoying that. And I'm really not a Metroidvania type of dude, but I really wanted to support the studio and the dev. Nice. Right? You can definitely tell this brother put a lot of heart and soul into this game. So got to support him. So I'm getting through that, and I think Scars Above.
Scars Above. Okay,
nice game. Nice game.
Yeah. So I will, and MJ Dark, you as well. What game are you playing, sir? I know you're always in the middle of some great indie game.
Man.
What you getting into these?
You know, I know what you're gonna say, so I'm gonna leave that one to you. So what I've been playing is I've been playing Harold Halibut. After my 20, it feels like 20 years of playing Persona 3. I finally wrote credits on Persona Reloaded. Jesus.
Yes,
oh my God. But yeah, Harold Halibut, love it. I love the story. I love the animation. That game is so beautiful. It starts off slow, but once you kind of get to that point where the story kicks off, you're like, it's like a roller coaster ride. I'm also playing, of course, Stellar Yams. I went back to playing that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm playing.
Okay.
I was talking to John earlier, and in the Discord, and I was letting him know that this feels like a 1-for-1 beat. You know how Lies of P was a sort of spiritual successor or love letter to Lies of P? Stellar Blade feels to Bloodborne. This feels like that love letter to Nier, and a little bit of Bayonetta sprinkled in. But you know, so far I'm enjoying it. I like the combat. You know, there is some pacing in the game, but overall I've had a good time. The other game that I was just playing before I came on here, of course, was X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged. My God, did I forget how great that game was. I mean, it was awesome. The way when Wolverine is getting shot up or hitting and his skin is coming off and regenerating, the combat. I mean, it's beat for beat what I used to love about 360 era, PS3 era. Awesome game. And
what about the opening What about the opening of that game and that opening cutscene? How intense that is!
Right there. Oh,
and then the last game, another indie game I'm playing, is called Crypt Master. Now, real quick, what about Crypt Master? If you guys remember a game called Type of the Dead, where it was literally you're typing and shooting, Crypt Master is think of a first-person dungeon crawler that you use words to basically attack and do stuff. It's really cool. I played maybe an hour or two, and I'm enjoying that. Again, this game just came out this week, and these are some incredible indie games.
Nice.
So I will put Crypt Master on the screen so people can get a sense of what he's talking about. Very interesting art style. Like it's black and white, but like very three-dimensional, very interesting, very cool. And it's words literally being translated while you're playing it. The words are translating into things that happen in the world. Really cool, interesting indie fare. As I think if you are a gamer, you know, indie is where the lifeblood is of gaming these days, and more these games are showing that.
And
so
what I like about this game, okay, it doesn't remind me, but it kind of inventive as Inscription, which is another great game, which is another great card game. Where again, I'm not into card games, and like Balatro, you just get into this game Inscription, and all of a sudden you find yourself into a crazy story. So that's another great one to put in there, Inscription.
Yeah. So because we are fans of indies around here, and we're going to get started in the show proper, and I'll tell y'all what I'm playing in a minute, but I will also tell you that because Humble Bundle's a thing, and I decided to support. So today, I'm also going to be giving away the Night Witch. And before anybody asks me what the Night Witch is, and this is Nintendo Switch footage, don't come at me, Nintendo.
Yep,
I'm just
best place to play, Nintendo Switch, just to let you guys know.
Get out of here with all that madness. This is the Night Witch, a really cool Metroidvania kind of. I would also call it like a shoot 'em up at the same time. Like
it's like a Metroidvania meets Bullet Hell. That's what it basically
Bullet
is.
Hell. That's right. Very cool story. Animation's awesome. I happened to get it on the Humble Bundle this week, and I already own the game. I already have a copy of the game, so I'm like, hey man, it's a really good game that starts off really cutesy and artsy fartsy and whatnot, but it grips you with the gameplay and has a really interesting story. So I figure I'd give it away. Bam! Oh, and it's gone.
I'll tell you this, Kate. Whoever gets this code, I highly recommend. This game is phenomenal from the beginning. The way it introduces the story and everything, and then it goes into really awesome.
So I put it up for a minute. If anybody's interested, you could rewind real quick and pause it. But don't worry, I'll bring it back.
It might struggle on the ROG Ally.
It will run great on all handhelds.
I don't know
These
about
games SIP TDP. It will run great on all of the handhelds that we potentially own between us and within the community. So if you want a copy of the game, either rewind right now, which I don't think you should do that. You should watch the show, and or give it a minute, and you'll see that I will put it back on display. But before we go fully into this, let me tell you about the game that I have been playing. And I only show a little bit of footage because when I showed some footage last time, I was told that I was spoiling things. So I'm gonna stop that. What am I playing? I'm playing Animal Well, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Animal Well. It's very, very odd. We all seem to be playing some really, really hardcore indie fare. We're talking pixel peeping stuff, but this game is amazing to me. It is 33 megabytes. That's right, not gigs, megabytes. It'll fit on a high density floppy. I was talking about this on GCP over the weekend. It bears repeating. I don't want to tell you anything more than you need to go and play this game. This is made by one developer. It is on PlayStation Network now because they happen to get the deal for it this month. So if you do have a PlayStation Plus subscription, you chances are have access to playing this. What you're seeing here is footage from my 5-year-old son who has not had enough of this game, and I love this game as well. You need to play this game. It's a Metroidvania, so you know what Metroidvanias are about. Full of puzzles, full of secrets, full of that old school Nintendo flair. Back when Nintendo was good and wasn't just trying to steal your money. You know what I'm saying? Back before they started selling you cardboard.
Sure. Let's not go there. Nintendo's still best place to play, best exclusives, best handheld. Just want to let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, best handheld, he says.
Best 1980s technology.
Best 1980s.
Hey,
exactly.
guess what?
Back when in 1980s.
Even though it's that, all you guys want to Yuzu it, right? Rest in peace, Yuzu.
Oh, stop it. Speaking of handhelds,
Still got
let's move
Resurgence.
swiftly on to our first story, which is
That's
what we
next
really
on my
want to
hit
talk
list.
about when we're here. Asus confirms that the ROG Ally X is coming in June. Now, first and foremost, I'll set it up with you guys, but let me first say what they did was some Craven-ish. What do I mean by that? They announced that they're going to show an announcement. So people line up into the chats. They line up into all of this stuff. Oh my God, they're going to announce it. And then they get on there. And what do? They talk about their announcement coming on June 2nd, which is the most hilarious, ridiculous shit I have ever witnessed. But,
there's Ragoons, bro. This should be called the ROG Ally. I should have been launched edition.
You know what? You're not lying there. I know you're spitting you're spitting that slanderous fire. I get it, but you're not lying there. It looks like everything they announced is stuff that should have been available on the ROG Ally day one.
So it's the PS5 Pro.
As a huge fan of the ROG Ally, as I know Mr. John Wolf is, I will let you take the first bite at that apple. First off, you were in the chat with us. We were all watching this through live. What are your thoughts, sir? Do you feel betrayed by the OG Ally, or are you like excited to go buy this?
I think that first of all, the announcement of the announcement. I always hate when companies do that. Just if you're inviting people and you're getting them excited, don't tease people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody likes that. You know, it's like, okay, you join this thing. There's a countdown. You're super excited. You want to see what's up. They get your interest for a second, and then they hit you with, oh, by the way, come back later. And it's like, nah. You know what I'm saying? So just for companies, they really need to stop doing that. But your direct question about, do I feel betrayed? I don't think so. No. The way that they kind of presented it and kind of talked about it, it's like if it's going to be a 1.5 edition of the of the handheld, I think that from like us, that we're enthusiasts, we kind of know the shortcomings of the Asus ROG Ally, which let's address the big elephant in the room. That battery is probably the worst of any handheld.
Dog water, they say. Dog water.
Okay. And there's no excusing that. And also the next seat that I'll give it is the SD card, crapping out on people from day one, and then them coming like a year later and saying, oh, by the way, we'll give you some warranty, which Asus, like, they got to do better when it comes to customer service initiatives. But what I will say is that I think that the ROG Ally OG, for the purpose that it was trying to serve, I think it did justice. The only thing I'll say about this upgrade is that, and me and Dirk were talking about this in the morning. Okay, so you're offering people a bigger battery, which is the biggest flaw of the first device. And apparently there's going to be also an upgrade on the memory. And also maybe they learned from the SD slot location that they're probably going to put it somewhere else so it doesn't crap out on you. Is that all you're offering? Like, okay, So for those of us that already took a bite of the apple from day one, unless you're really hurting that you are running out of battery like in 30 minutes or less, which I'm sure that there's people out there that are suffering from that.
Well, I mean, bro, there are some people trying to play Cyberpunk on this thing, so 30 minutes or less is a viable situation.
Yeah, I mean, other than that,
just boots into the press start screen.
What is really the incentive for anybody to upgrade? I will say, if there's somebody out there that's thinking, oh, should I jump in today? You might want to wait till June 2nd to see what they formally announce.
Hey, John, let me ask you this. Do you agree that Asus should have offered some type of trade-in program through them to give you a credit to kind of, customers who had issues, right? Not everyone has the same issues. To then be like, hey, we're doing this iteration. We have a trade-in program or something like that, maybe through Best Buy or through a partner, to kind of incentivize their users to upgrade to this 1.5 version.
Look, you guys already know me, that I'm pro-consumer all the way. And anytime that there's a company trying to do something shady, I'll be the first one to not even think it through and just call it out, right? Like, I think I'm pretty notorious for that, while still being a pay pig. I do think that Asus has had a very rocky road as of late. I've heard Kei Asante talk about it before. We've talked about it before on some shows. I've been looking at some of the stuff that from Nexus, Gamers Nexus that they've put out. Asus is a little suspicious right now with the way that they do things. Meaning that if you send in your unit because of a bad SD card, it could be that they identify things that are BS because they're trying to charge you. Okay, and I don't want to throw them under the bus completely, but we've already seen what's happening with their motherboards. A lot of people, including when I was upgrading my PC recently, the dude that was helping me out in Best Buy flat out told me, do not get an Asus motherboard because we have been having returns like never before. And I was like,
to me multiple times. I have like 3 of them of the same type sitting right there. 3 motherboards of the same exact spec because they keep firmware updating them and then they brick them with the firmware.
So John, let me ask you this question, right? Since we're talking about this whole situation with warranty, this is sort of similar across the board, and this doesn't excuse Asus because I've had similar situations as someone who buys handhelds and Indiegogo, and sometimes the support is not there. But sometimes the support goes to the point that I have to wait months, or sometimes they don't repair anything because of language barriers, and I have to go back and kind of go in there. And I've learned to circumvent Discord to kind of get the help. You know, that shouldn't be the same thing with the ROG Ally. Asus should definitely do better. Do you agree?
They should. No, 100%.
But I will say they do better. They do.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because they're backed by Best Buy and they're in your retail stores. Like I myself, when I bought my
but Kay, what if somebody didn't buy that warranty because they want a budget, they want this device sometimes,
it's not even. It's not even that there's a warranty or not. By the nature of buying it at Best Buy, right? They say one throat to choke. You have some place to go to complain when they have problems. And I've seen Best Buy has done right by their customers, even if you don't have that extended warranty. Since like what was it? Sticky buttons were a big thing at the beginning of it. Like eventually the buttons would just lock in and it would not unlock themselves, right? At some point, they were giving you refunds, and they would, well, not refunds, but they were doing replacements, right? Whether you had a warranty extended or not, if you came and complained about the same thing they've heard umpteenth time, as long as you can prove you bought it there, they would just switch it out for you. Now, obviously, Asus should have a better organization and better support arm, but I will say, let's give them a little bit of props because they chose to back, they chose to go the route of Best Buy rather than my baby here, which chooses to only do the Chinese support arm, which tends to be a crapshoot, right?
Right.
So whether they support it fully or not, they did back a company that has history in being able to go there. You're able to go there and talk to them, and they're able to give you a warranty. And it seems that you guys are ready to throw them to the wolves. So I may be the only one that right now will be on the defense train. Before we start ripping them to pieces, because, you know, I'm known for ripping Asus to pieces. Let's, for a short moment, talk about what they're actually offering, because some of it might be a little interesting. Shall we? Just for a moment.
Okay. I'm not trying to be negative of the ROG. I was telling John about the bigger battery. The bigger battery will help the Z1 Extreme because it reminds me sort of that Ioneo device we're not going to name on here, where the Z1 Extreme is hungry.
You mean the Ioneo racist? Yes.
Yes. But we're gonna giving a bigger battery, excuse me, it offsets the power hungry of the Z1 Extreme, which they've done a good job through software updates in kind of bringing that down to kind of draw less power. I think the for someone who hasn't purchased the ROG Ally and they were like, you know what, let me wait for that generation or maybe the fixes. The bigger battery, I think 32 gigs going into this generation with UE5 games and a lot of games is a huge bump, because remember, with these devices, it's kind of like a console, right? Where you're sharing the RAM. Yeah. That's
the question, though. Are they getting 32 gigs? I wanted to know. Give me a moment.
Well, they said they were using 24.
Well, check this out. The reason why I ask is because the basic ROG came with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs, right? And
it came 16. 16.
It has 16 gigs?
60 gigs of RAM. Yep. Okay. It came 16 gigs of RAM. 512 was the minimum, and I think they had. Yeah, I don't think they had a 1 terabyte. So if anything,
they are going 32.
So yeah, so they could have here a 32 with a 1 terabyte. And I was telling John, look, they said it's going to be more pricey. if they price it to the same price of the Lenovo Legion Go, which was $799, I still think is a steal if you like the ROG Ally, because that VRR screen, if people don't know about that, it's what it does. It's great because when you're playing games that are going to drop frames, that VRR screen definitely helps. And I think even I was telling John, comparing it to the Steam Deck, even though it's not an OLED, the screen on the Legion Go and on the ROG Ally are as crisp as it may not have the dark colors and stuff like that, but it's a nice screen overall.
So again, let's double back, because I want to tell the people all the things they potentially get with this thing. Okay, and I think we're assuming a bunch of people saw this. They haven't seen it. Maybe not everybody watched this thing. So let's see let's talk about what they're getting. Right? They say improved battery life. Improved by how much? We're not sure of that.
Well,
we don't know that.
I'm gonna say 65. I'm gonna say 65 watts.
I watched the Fox video right after. He says that he's hearing rumblings of them even possibly doing a 70-watt battery.
Okay,
which would just be insane.
No. That'd be in line, I would say, and I'll tell you why. I'll say that. I'm saying that in a minute. So we're talking about between 65 to 70 milliwatt hour battery. Okay. There's the idea of they're going to a 1 terabyte drive. There's the idea that they're going to 32 gigs of RAM. The screen stays the same. We don't know if they will replace. They'll move the SD card.
I wish they would have gone with a bigger screen, maybe 7.5. And looking at ASUS's devices right now, they have OLEDs. I wish this had an OLED because they've done some great OLED models in their current machines.
Yeah.
In terms of power management, why stay with the Z1?
That is my question.
8800 series that's already there.
Because they got a bunch of them laying around and they need.
If you look,
other than cost,
Strix Point is not there yet, and that generational. If you're looking at the right now, the current model, right? I have an 8840U. They're sort of the same. There are some.
They're the same with a little bit of with a slight bit of a neural
correct
bumps there,
So, for instance, I was saying John Wolf. We've seen on CPU dependent games, you've seen a better performance, not huge, but better performance on the 8840U versus the 78. But besides that, they're all the same. So, I mean, if you look at the Steam Deck, right? I keep telling Kay, I think the 7840U devices have a lot more. I think we've been waiting on AMD and their updates to kind of take advantage of a lot of the stuff on all devices.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree with that. What they also announced is that they're doing some Armory Crate updates, SE version updates.
Don't get me started.
That right there. Well, hold on. That right there is actually interesting to me. Now, before we continue, I will add a small caveat, a very small caveat. I happen to have sold my ROG Ally just this very weekend. I had to get rid of it because I had too many handhelds and I hadn't played it in a while. So I played with it over the weekend and I'm like, I'm not a fan anymore. Not that I'm not a fan anymore, but I don't pick it up for the right reasons anymore because I'd rather a 7840U device than a Z1, as you would talk about, Flood. And I have that in my A1 Pro, so I've been playing this instead. And as such, I'm like, why leave this thing to collect dust? Maybe somebody else will get some enjoyment on it. I had already upgraded my drive to 2 terabytes. I have a like one of these really nice cases on it, screen protectors on it. I have a specific dock that was built specifically for the Ally. Looks exactly like the Ally, RGB, the whole thing. Got rid of it for $600. So I am unfortunately no longer the target audience. But maybe if this Ally X shows up and the battery is something of note, I might be interested in jumping back into those waters, right? It would have been interesting to me until I heard that they were going right back to the Z1 Extreme. And that lost it for me. Now, I have to ask you, MJ Dark, as a person who currently still owns a Legion Go, am I wrong?
Yes, sir.
Did you, and you also were an Ally user for some time, did you see any differences in processing power between the Legion Go and the ROG Ally?
Not really. I think I would see slight performance when you had the higher transfer. I mean, the RAM,
the higher
RAM
TDP,
speed.
Higher RAM speed. Yeah, of course. I
just like the Legion Go because I like bigger displays. As you can see, my devices. I have the Legion Go. I have the the X1, which is 10, and the Minisforum V3, which is a 14-inch AMD tablet. So
There you go.
looking at this device, I don't. To me personally, there's no reason. I already have the ROG Ally. I know what it is. If the ROG Ally was like the Steam Deck OLED, where it went 7.5 OLED, and they sort of I feel like they did a lot of refinements in addition to the battery and getting more. That was more enticing, knowing that I already knew what the Steam Deck was. Great console, great battery, efficient. I don't know, because I would want to see what's coming up from Lenovo, and I feel Lenovo's going to be in the same trap where you're probably going to get 32 gigs, Z1 Extreme, same screen. So, honestly, I think if we're looking for that next evolution in handhelds, we're probably going to see it in 2025.
I don't disagree. I think everyone's waiting to see what the king of handhelds will do, a la Valve's and their Steam Deck. Like, they're waiting to see what the new benchmark is before they decide to strike.
Which is still, I think, the top handheld. That's still the top handheld to beat, regardless.
It's still the big dog. And you know how I know this? Because I started playing Animal Well on that at 4 TDP. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 4 TDP. And I've been playing it for hours, and the battery barely drops a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you this, Kay. I have the
crazy.
I have the basically your version of the AKO Zoe. I have the One X Player 2 Pro. And it's crazy how I'm able to run at lower TDPs, and it's doing what the Steam Deck is doing, where you're going at a lower TDP and it's slightly bumping up to a higher wattage just to kind of get that. But I'm getting great performance. Yeah.
So moving back to this specifically, did any of the news stories about the Armory Crate updates, did any of that move the needle for anybody? I'll start with you, Mr. Wolf here. I know you are still a main on the ROG Ally. You still use it pretty frequently.
So he left. He got the Legion Go.
I do have the Legion Go, and I will say that my time recently with the ROG Ally has been about a 70-30 split. I've been using the Legion Go about 70% of the time, and
wow,
there you have it. Just want to let you know, there you have it. There you have it.
But it's not because I think it's not because of
because you love it.
It's not because of the ROG Ally, and I just think that the device is not good. It's just that one thing that we've talked about throughout our many shows is that once you have that bigger screen, sometimes it's hard to go back. So there'll be times that I use it just to
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. John Wolf says once you go big, you can't go back. Oh boy! All right.
Pause. So I'll use it because because there is one thing that I do give the ROG compared to the Lenovo Legion Go. The comfort for me, I still think that the ROG Ally is more comfortable than the.
You're kidding?
No,
you are kidding.
No, I think the ergonomics is a lot better on it.
You think the ergonomics on the Ally is better than the Legion Go?
I do. Yes.
Wow. You know why I'm surprised at that? Like, when I sold my Ally, it's that weekend and it was Mother's Day. I happened to be running around Best Buy, went and got the wifey an Apple Watch. It happened to be that there was a Legion Go. Yeah, I just put that up there already. It happened to be that there was a Legion Go on the display, and I held one for a little while. It feels a lot more like this device than I'm surprised about. And I love that. I think the ergonomics on the Go is actually far superior than the Ally.
There's actually Russ from Retro Game Corps actually made a Lenovo Legion Go video recently, I think this weekend, and
like a 6 months later thing, right?
Yeah, he recommended some grips that I picked up that he was having kind of like the same issues where I don't know, there's something about the way that the curves, like they dig into the palm of your hand, and after about an hour, to me, like I see the line of it digging in there, and it feels uncomfortable. So he says that with these grips, it's been better for him. So I ordered them, and maybe I'll come back and I'll tell you, hey, that's it. That's all I needed.
So is anybody here really still a main of the ROG Ally? Then is the question. Flood, nowadays, do you play?
I can't.
How is your handheld experience, sir?
I do not currently have any handhelds. However,
look at that. Keep going.
I'm pretty much a couch guy and a desk guy. However, I will say MJ Dark did actually get me interested in the that 1X Player X.
Don't do it, man. Latin quarters get you. Don't do it.
He really did. He really did.
He's gotten me and Kay a lot of times.
I got that bug. I got it from him. I got it from him. So that's the one I'm really looking at.
Okay. Well, okay. I will say, before we keep throwing all the slander their way, I will say, and while I'm going to give him a compliment, this is probably going to be a backhanded compliment, but there you go. I will say I appreciate them changing up the flow on this on the Armory Crate, giving you a bit more agency, letting you decide how the UI looks. I mean, I will say this to you, dear viewer, anybody who happens to hear the sound of my voice, you don't need Armory Crate to do exactly what they're doing. There's something called Play Night, does the same damn thing, ladies and gentlemen.
And can I add something?
They actually stole it from Play Night, I would say, but continue. Yes.
One thing I'd like to see from AMD and Lenovo is the problem with the current handhelds right now compared to the ones we buy from the other players is that it's tied to the OEM. So what I mean by that is the Legion Go at the moment has an issue with GPUs.
The drivers.
Yeah. And they're finally going to address it after 1 to 2 weeks versus when you have off-market ones, you're tied to AMD, which has a faster, I would say, a more frequent cadence than compared to the OEM. And I think that's where the ROG Ally and even the Legion Go.
For those who don't understand what you mean, let me break it down in an analogy I think people will understand. If you recall, back in the day in the Android world, right, you would have a Samsung device, right? And he said, oh, stop it, Lucius, it's terrible. Anyway, you recall during the days of Android, right, and Asus and Samsung, if you get a Samsung or an HTC or any time that those devices were around, you'd have to wait until they skin their version of Android, which means you're waiting 6 months, 8 months later than when Android actually comes out. Whereas if you get one of these off-brand ones that just loads Android like stock on there, it shows up day one. That's what's happening here, right?
AOS device.
Exactly. Whereas the off-brand ones, AOK Zoe, the Z1, the 1X Player variant, is literally just giving you the same adrenaline drivers that come from AMD. These guys have to skin it with their version, or they have to put it into their install base, a la Armory Crate or something like that. So it makes the drivers take a lot longer to get to you, right? Now, because we swim in these PC waters, there are ways of getting around that, but the preferred method is to have it downloaded from your manufacturer. And that takes too damn long, right? So even if there's an issue that these drivers are solving, you got to wait until Lenovo decides to let that thing slide before you're able to get access to it, which is very much a problem.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, let me go back to when you were talking about the Armory Crate. One of the things that really surprised me, how you doing? Xbox expansion pass, good to see you.
Yes.
One of the things that shocked me when they were showing off their new 1.5 UI update is that how like after the Claw basically copied everything from the ROG. How did they not take elements of that UI? Because the Claw does have
a great UI. Yes,
it's very nice and appealing to the eye. It has all the little launchers on the top. How did they not borrow anything back from the Claw? I'm like,
well, but remember though, we haven't seen this thing in full frame just yet. It may very well have done that. We just don't know it yet. What they did show off looked like they were biting more of Play Night than they were biting anything else. We'll wait to see what it looks like. It might very well be a thing where they did bite. And look, let's be clear. I am advocating for you to bite from everyone you can, right?
Of course.
Let me. As a guy who plays in the waters of the VR, for example, every time a new device shows up, it's not, oh, this is what we have done. No, it usually sets a new benchmark for VR, period, right? This person releases a device, the screen is the best screen ever until another device comes out from any other manufacturer, and that becomes the best screen ever. Oh, this control scheme comes out, the Knuckles control scheme comes out from Valve. No one's been able to beat it until a Meta comes out with hand tracking, right? They keep one-upping each other, right? So in that world, if you give me a handheld and go, oh, we're finally giving you 32 gigs, I'm like, sorry, bro, I got 64 right here. Wake me up when you do better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, when you go, we're upping the battery to 65 milliwatt hour. I'm like, I got 67, bro. Like, give me something better. You know what I
mean? It would be like Nintendo putting chat in their in their in their console.
We don't need it. Anyway, the ROG Ally, another thing they should have done, which I was talking to you, was get away from the proprietary port and allow people to use USB 4. If you're not going to put Oculink, give USB 4. I think that the proprietary eGPU solution they use is very expensive, where you can get one
garbage,
much cheaper. I have the 1V dock. It's called the One Dock V2. Cost me about $150. I bought a 2070 Super, and it works on all my USB 4 devices. Plug and play nicely. And I feel that that's another thing that I wish they kind of took away, because I get it. They want to sell their own solutions, but I feel that they should give people the freedom to use other things. And maybe that port that they have, I don't know if it's cheaper or brings the cost down, but they can address certain costs and put it to things that I think would be more beneficial to people. And like you were saying, Kay, saying, okay, wow, this is more than just a shiny coat of paint. This is a little bit more than what the current iterations of the handhelds are offering.
Even the Steam Deck gave you a 1.5, but their 1.5 was substantive, right?
It was.
They give you CPU, they gave you a performance update, they gave you an OLED screen, they gave you 90 hertz screen, battery got better. They actually put in some work to refine some of those things.
Here's another thing the ROG Ally, or SUSE, excuse me, should put into that I love about the Steam Deck OLED, which I remember I talked to you. Being able to change the refresh rate, the FPS, and give you the proper refresh rate so you can have the perfect one. So for example, you go down to 30, it hits at 90, so it could feel solid. And I think that would be more console and user friendly, which is one thing that I loved about the Steam Deck OLED.
Okay.
Well, one thing that they also mentioned, Kay, that I don't know if you if that's in your notes there, is that supposedly they mentioned port, right? Now, what does that mean? Does that now people have speculated that could mean that they're adding an extra USB-C up to the bottom to make, options to charge on the top and bottom? Can it mean that they add Oculink? I really don't think so, because
there's no way they're adding Oculink.
They're not adding Oculink.
I don't think so either, because again, they're trying to kind of Apple this thing and say, and I fell for it. We all know that. I fell for it. I bought the eGPU. So I just.
But here's the thing. I hear you on the port, and I keep doing this. This has a port at the bottom and at the top. I will say, temper your expectations, because even if they do a port on the bottom and the top, they still want you to buy that proprietary port. So they will gimp the port to make it only PD, which is a power delivery. And it won't be USB 4 proper that will give you access to connect your own GPU. You know
let me ask Flood something to get him involved a little bit. Let me ask you this, Flood.
What's up, brother?
You said that you're feeling the itch to maybe get into the handheld space with the 1X player, right? That you saw MJ Dark playing. Now,
yes, sir.
MJ, I'm not throwing shade over to the 1X player. I promise I'm not trying to do that right now. But we kind of know that Intel, they're not really the best right now when it comes to this space. Okay, I would dare to say they may be in dead last. I don't think I'm exaggerating there, without being a tech guy myself. Now,
I have something to say about that.
Okay, I'm glad, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So, seeing how now you're what I would consider a power user, so you'll figure out how to get your game running. But someone like me that is going to have to do research and figure out why my game is not running over on the Intel side. Are you gun-ho on AMD also on handhelds, or what is it that you want to say about Intel to give maybe the listeners and myself some educate us on Intel? What's going on with them in the handheld space?
Well, just in GPUs in general, right? So when Intel announced they were getting into the discrete GPU space, I said, cool, finally a third player. Prices are going to come down. NVIDIA is, not going to be so egregious, because we're going to have a better market competition. That's why I'm rooting for Intel. So when they announced that they were getting to the space, I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to do this. Let's go for it. I got the A770 at launch. I still have it, right? At launch, it was completely unusable. It did not work. I had to put it down. I could not use it, and that's why I ended up getting the 7900 XTX. And then when they got the drivers better and they worked at it, a long time. I put it back in the machine, fired it up. Everything's beautiful. Is it perfect? No, but it's a lot better than it was, and it can pretty much play every single game, pretty much at a 4060 level. Let's put it like that, between 4060 Ti level with better upscaling technology in XeSS, right? So they just had 1.1.
So, gentlemen,
now we're on 1.3.
Before we continue, and I will let you continue because I have more for you, Flood.
Sure thing.
Real quick, I will say, those who haven't gotten their hands on it yet, this is your final time. I'll leave it on the screen for some time now. Please grab that code. Let me know if you got that code. It is an awesome game. Trust me, you will love it. Whoever gets it, let us know in the chat that you got it. Thank you very much. And now I will switch over to our next story, and then I will continue to talk to you, Floodzilla, because you have basically let us know that although you are the Penguin galore, you're out there repping through the red team, you, unlike us, have not bought in because all these things run AMD devices. So it's your part of the problem. You're part of the problem why they are 48% down and they're not getting better. So talk to us about why it is you went the Intel route.
No, it's John Wolf buying the Legion Go.
which technically also has a Z1 in it, so that's still good, right? Mm-hmm. This man went Intel. What's good, Mr. Team Red? What's going on, sir?
Yeah, he kind of shocked me with that, to be honest with you.
What was when they announced the 4000 series specifically first? They came out with the high end, right? So they had the 4090 and 4080.
Yep.
A lot of people got the 4080 first. What was the launch price of the 4080?
Oh yeah, it was a monster. It was ridiculous.
Well, 1400, right?
It didn't make any sense because of the price. The better value was
exactly. Well, and what was the price of the 4090, which few people could actually
like 16. It was like
1600.
Yeah, but when you look at the price difference, it made more sense because that's the way they priced this, so they could upsell you.
But that was just for the Founders Edition. Now go third party. Look at let's say Asus Strix, or look at EVGAs out of the space.
Yeah, I
right?
paid about 17 for mine. I was able to get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it could go as far as 2K for 4090, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, nah, I'm good. So when they did the presentation for the 7000 series, I said, all right, XTX looks decent. I'm gonna get some upgrading to non-existent ray tracing. I said I'll go for it.
He said upgraded to non-existent ray tracing. That's good.
Could it be
You're
better?
Here representing Team Red, man. You're not supposed to drop
to.
slander. That's for us. Listen, what are you doing?
Listen. What is Nvidia right now?
BBL FSR, man.
80% of the market. Come on, man.
Yeah, they own it. They basically own it.
They own it. Which is why they can charge what they don't even care about gamers.
Yeah,
they don't care.
It's outrageous.
Oh.
Remember the 3000 series pricing? That was outrageous too.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Flood, because this is kind of like the conversation I wanted to have with you, especially with AMD here. We see AMD, we kind of see that they came out and they didn't really want to match NVIDIA with a 4090 equivalent. They said, listen, we're not even going to
let's be honest, they can't. But continue. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that they can, but they just choose not to because it would be a loss to them, right? But
the minute you add ray tracing, they cannot. They can rasterize performance, they're good. Yeah. The minute you turn RT on or their equivalent of it, it just goes. No.
AMD's better with the lights off, man. AMD's better with the lights off. That's what I'm gonna say.
But
even Flood, who's representing Team Red, did not rebut what I just said. He just kind of went.
There's nothing to rebut. It's just the truth. It's gospel.
But
right?
Here's the thing, Flood, and I'll tell you, and this is coming from someone with very little experience in the PC space, messing around with AMD's tool set, with the Radeon tools, and with the NVIDIA stuff. The NVIDIA, like the GeForce stuff, you kind of get what you pay for, that premium, where you get all the eye candy, you get all this good stuff, and I understand that comes at a price. But the thing about AMD is that I do feel that I have learned a lot about PC gaming because of AMD, if that makes any sense, because I have been messing with the tools, with the different, what does this do? What does that do? What does this do? Oh, okay. RSR. Oh, okay. This type of upscaling. I'm compensating here.
Radeon is very simple to use. They really do have a good UI with the Radeon software. In addition to that, right, as you know, that I'm also in the Linux space as well. So when it comes to their open source drivers and what they provide there, very simple. There's for me, there's no other alternative. Like the NVIDIA drivers, Linux drivers are pure trash. Leave a lot to be desired, right? So I decided to go AMD. Everything's folded into Mesa, which is the open source drivers for Linux, and it just works out the box.
Okay, so that's one of the things that, like,
if people played games on Linux, it'd be more useful. But oh well.
We're just coming at him.
I'm here for the slander. I'm here for the.
Oh, hey, let's get it.
Hey, listen, Flood. I'm usually the one getting beat up in the Discord. So, like,
that's like saying, hey, okay? I game on a Mac. I know Lon's out there.
Exactly.
They are not the same. That is no.
Let's be clear. The Mac and the actual resources and the power they bring to bear can smoke most of the competition, but you will never get a game that will ever use even 10% of its capabilities. So who cares? It's like having jet fuel and being told to go to the grocery store. Doesn't matter.
Apple doesn't take games.
It is what it is. Indeed.
They give you the tools and then don't give you the platform to use the tools, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So are you on the AMD side that you understand their shortcomings, or do you think that price for performance wise, Flood, that you just get a better value with AMD? Are you on that side, or are you just
I would say I'm on both, right? So I understand the value and the bang for buck, right? As in terms of pure raster. And I'm good with that. I understand I'm gaming with a compromise, but it's still bang for buck. It's good for my wallet. You know what I'm saying? As a family man myself, there was no way I was going to pay $1,200 for a Founders Edition 4080. I did not believe that DLSS was worth an extra $200 premium. That's just me. Other people.
Then you turned on Horizon Forbidden West. You're like, yo, where's that NVIDIA card?
Nah, it's maxed out, brother. There's no RT in the game either. There's none. It's just pure raster. No. You just max it out.
So you got Alo with no makeup.
She didn't have makeup to begin with. I mean, y'all
gotta stop the slander.
I have no problem throwing a bag over her head if you wanted to keep it like that.
The dinosaurs have no color. You're like, what? Is this the same dinosaur? No. This is different. It doesn't have color.
Well. Okay. If you want to talk slander, I want to see your footage of, let's say, Cyberpunk 2077, sir. Because that's where it matters.
You're right. Where it matters, also, Alan Wake 2, because
also Alan Wake 2, exactly.
Alan Wake 2, and I'm playing it on a double ultra wide screen.
Oh wow! Okay, very nice.
Yeah, but you know what? Remedy did a good job for non-RT like devices. The way they kind of implement their own. So even if you don't have it, because again, before I was playing it on the actual device on an AMD handheld, it still looks good.
All right, I'll be the console peasant right now. Besides,
well, hold on. Before you do that, though, we have BT Maverick 707, a member for a month. Not only is he showing that support for our show, he's showing support to the chat. There's a code for Callisto Protocol.
Oh, that's a good game
in there. Ladies and gentlemen, pick that up. It's right there. It's on the screen, brother. BT Maverick, thank you so much. That is awesome, bro. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whoever gets that, let us know. That is awesome. That is an awesome game.
That game runs better now.
That game's amazing.
It runs better now.
Oh yeah, now it's great. It started off a little broken, but it's awesome now.
Sean,
go ahead, John Wolf. Yeah.
The point I was gonna make, and I'm ready for the slander. I'm now let's flip it and let's beat up on me for a little bit, right? So Sean T brings up a good point, and Kay, we've had this conversation before. Less than a handful of games utilize RT in a meaningful way.
That is true. I agree.
At least to Sean, and I have
to. It's true.
I have to agree because like when we take a look at Cyberpunk being the benchmark, right? Of wow, like I can really see a difference here. You go to a game like Alan Wake 2 and you're like, yeah, I guess the flashlight is a little bit shinier. Okay.
No, it's not about the shinier, bro.
No.
It's not. Please, someone correct this man. Go ahead.
Okay, Alan Wake 2 for me was heavier than Cyberpunk.
Absolutely,
it was way heavy because it wasn't just ray tracing. They actually had path tracing in Alan Wake 2.
Let me put that in correct. Like just really take it all the way there for you, John Wolf. Cyberpunk was built with rasterized lighting, and then eventually they layered on ray traced and path traced lighting on top of it. Right. Alan Wake 2 was built with that lighting from jump, right? They built it with path trace lighting from jump. That's why everyone was so cognizant of how heavy it would run on console, because how do you get it to adapt? And they did a really good job. That's why they threaded that needle and also did primitive and mesh shaders to kind of offset the cost, right? So if you don't do that and you run it fully at that level, it would be really, really heavy, right? They did mesh shaders, they did primitive shaders for PlayStation, and that's how they were able to kind of offset the cost of path tracing on Alan Wake 2. Games that have a path tracing mode usually have to account for that mode by putting like your standard rasterized lighting in as a base, and then if you want, you can turn it on. This game started with that. Even when you turned it off, there was still global illumination throughout the world, right? So that's why it would definitely be heavier to run Alan Wake 2 than it would be Cyberpunk.
Remember Metro also was another game that really used great global illumination. Yes. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow.
And it was always on. You couldn't trigger it on and off, right?
That's right. You couldn't turn it off.
And you can tell the difference between cheap RT, meaning like RT that's not implemented and everything looks just shiny, like it's like all, versus like really good and immersive. Like look at Control. Control's is another great example, Remedy, of using RT as one of those key games. And there are games that use it when used correctly, it looks insane on another level.
Yeah,
I want to go there with you guys, but maybe I'm doing something wrong on my side. Okay, I don't know, but for the most part, when I see some of this ray tracing stuff on these games, like I really have to look. Where is it? Like I'm like, okay, what am I looking for here? Is it the puddle?
That's probably what it is. You're looking for it. So if it's done correctly, it's not something you're looking for. It's something that just is, right? And I hate to say this. I know. Here comes the virtual tomatoes. Throw them right here. I'm okay. I will accept them. This is your console brain talking, because what they do there is they put a whole bunch of like rasterized lighting in place, and then they'll implement a little bit of ray tracing here and there. They'll put the puddles. They'll do some reflections on the walls, and then they'll go, see, look, it's shiny. Look, the puddles are bigger and they're smaller.
That's GI. That's global illumination.
Global illumination, exactly. Right. If they implement it correctly, it's basically how, like, think of how lights work in normal life, right? If it works correctly, you don't see it, right? You don't look for it. It's the fact that, hey, the light source is coming in from the left side, so that the car that's in front of you underneath is completely dark because there is no light shining there. Right. And what ends up happening is, and actually, it's actually pretty interesting when you compare a rasterized lighting game to a path trace game or a ray trace game. By and large, sometimes from a gamer brain, the rasterized game looks better. Why? Because you can see all aspects of the car. Whereas in the path trace version, you only see the top part, not the bottom part, because light wouldn't travel underneath it because there's no light source there. Right. It's basically how lighting should work, not how lighting works in your gamer brain that they've been feeding you all this time, right? It takes some, and that's exactly the reason why, for example, Forza Motorsport versus GT7. Everyone was like, oh, GT7 looks better because GT7 is full of rasterized lighting, so it always looks pristine at all times of day, right? Whereas Motorsport has global illumination lighting, so depending on the time of day and the rain and the scenario, it can look rough because that's how life is. Right? It's reality versus the idealistic perception of how it should look, right? And if you're doing it right, people don't necessarily see everything. It's just feels better because it's how light should actually function, right?
Okay.
It's not about
GT7 was a Zack Snyder movie.
Yes, exactly. Compared to Forza, which can be subdued at times because it's not always shiny out there. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's overcast, sometimes it just doesn't look pristine, and that's how it should be reflected in real lights.
Yeah, I got such a bad introduction to ray tracing this generation. It's like the very first game that I even started paying attention to it that was being sold was Devil May Cry 5, and they're like, "Oh, you can see his reflection." I'm like, "I've been able to see character reflections on glass for a long time. What is this?" Like, okay, like I remember God of War, the prequel game for the PS3. There's a stage there that you're like walking on marble, and you can see like reflections all over the place, and it was done very well and all that good stuff. And I know it's not the same, but it still looked incredible.
Exactly. That's the point. That is exactly the point. That's what you're talking about. In the PS3 variant, what they did is they probably duplicated the camera, and then they made it wavy at the bottom. So it looks like everywhere he goes, he's going there, but it looks a little bit warped because of the marble, right? Those are the tricks they've been playing for years. There are PS2 games. What do you call it? What the heck is it called? There was a GTA game that shot way beyond its skis way early on in the PS2 days. Streets of New York. I forget the tagline that was called, but it had like Lawrence Fishburne and a bunch of other people in the game. And even in the PS2 days, you could see them doing reflections such expertly that when they finally do use the computer to actually simulate game creation and light sources and all of that, you go, it's not as good as those things. And sometimes it doesn't look as good as those things because those things humans have spent time tweaking to make it look idealistic, right? But it's not real, it's hyper real. And the real games tend to be more subdued and tend to have a more real life reflection than those ones that have been rasterized, right? So if you, and let's be clear here, another thing that and that's why I said it's the console thought. To get the consoles to be sold, they hype a lot of these things up. Look at the puddles. Oh my God. So eventually becomes subject of a lot of eyeballs. Oh my God, do you see how this looks? When in fact, it should be just things that are in the background that you barely notice, right? When you turn on RT in Doom, wherever you go, you see him reflecting. You can even do that on a handheld, because that engine is so well optimized, right? But it's not like this whiz bang thing. It just kind of makes the game feel more natural. It makes the game feel more lifelike. That's about it. But people have spent so much time like promoting it and pimping it that now you're expecting to see such whiz bang when you look at it, when in fact it should just be this cool thing that gets subdued, bringing it in there. Leonard Herrera, $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. He's here. He says, my new family, keep bringing it. Much love, brother. Love to you. We appreciate all the support. I see you've been on been watching our shows and supporting us. We really appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. But I hope you understand, Mr. Wolf, what I mean by that. Maybe that's the new, because you've been swimming in new waters left and right. Maybe that's the new water you should swim in now. Try to see the difference between the rasterized, like tip of the spear rasterized performance versus how a really true path trace game reflects. Actually, I would say what Mr. MJ Dark presented is probably a very good example. What's the enhanced edition of, what's the name of that game you just mentioned? I forget. You mentioned it
Metro. Yeah.
Yes, they have the original version and then they have the enhanced version. And the difference between that and, let's say, Cyberpunk is they actually tore out all the rasterized and went full path traced on the enhanced versus the rasterized version. So you can see the same game with two actual separate things. Maybe watch the Digital Foundry review of that thing. They really did a good job giving you that side by side.
I'll check it out.
In certain instances, the OG version looks better because people spent a lot of time making it look great, right? Yeah. But then you'll see the differences between what it should look like and the idealistic version that the people have.
Yeah, there's a lot of TLC with the work that was done. I get what you mean.
That's right.
The last thing I'll say is, like, for example, like, that's why, like, even for Flood, I can understand, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but Flood, do you kind of see like ray tracing when that's kind of being sold by NVIDIA to upcharge their cards and the upscaling technology that they have. Do you kind of see ray tracing to be kind of like the 3D of our time for gaming? Like, you know, when they were trying to sell 3D,
yeah,
3D.
I understand. Yeah, I get it. But it's moving in that direction, right? So not every game is going to utilize it now. Not every game is going to implement it, you know, like Cyberpunk will. But at the same time, that's the direction that games are moving. And what Cyberpunk did was really set that bar high, right? So at this point, there's no way that games in 2024 and going forward from 2025, 2026 cannot implement ray tracing at that particular level. That's just the way technology moves. We move forward, not backward, right? So I see that as, you know, kind of reaching that level. And where I see with Unreal Engine 5, for instance, now we don't have to really worry too much now about hardware accelerated ray tracing, because now it's in the engine. So, you know, we're making strides. You know, you don't have to have the world's heaviest, you know, 5090, 4090 to now utilize these features. So, you know,
didn't Crysis use this? They use software ray tracing in the Crysis remaster.
Yes,
so that's a good example. Yep.
And they did that on the Xbox One X.
That's what I'm saying.
And on the Switch.
So
terrible lies.
Lies. Yeah.
Sir,
they did, and then it blew up in your pocket.
10, bro. Gen 10, bro. I play them all the time. That's how I played Crysis recently.
Yeah, sure. At 12 FPS. So
Starfield, I think, has great lighting. It's some of the best lighting I've ever seen with their GIRT implementation. It really looks good. Say what you want about the creation engine, but the lighting is really chef's kiss to me.
And while we talk, I will find some examples of RT lighting and throw them on here. But keep going. Yes. Yeah.
So, Flood, so what you're missing out on RT for the most part on some games, like, and again, I don't mean to keep on picking on you with these questions. It's just that you're really the only one of us here, and really our circle that is we there's a few others that are AMD first. Do you feel like you're missing out at times?
Hey now. We are all AMD first because we all have handhelds, and that's all they have.
Handhelds.
That is true, but still, like, do you feel like you're missing out at all sometimes, like with the ray tracing stuff? Like,
not at all.
But that's what I'm talking about. I think that's kind of like the common thing that I've heard from a lot of people that talk about AMD and their experience with it, with AMD graphic cards, that they're very satisfied with the performance that they're getting for the price that they get it. That to them, they're kind of like, we're all right over here. You know what I'm saying? And I think
have you tried this reshade?
There's a difference between can't ray trace and can't ray trace as good.
Sure,
there's a difference.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
They can ray trace. It's just not as good. Because remember, every console can ray trace, and they all have AMD processors in them as well. So
yeah, I mean, the PS5 Pro supposedly is going to do ray tracing, right? Yeah, sure. So, yeah, sure. So, what's this called?
And you're going to buy one too, right?
Of course.
I know you're the only one that's probably going to buy one between all of us. So stop slander. Right?
I actually had a question about that. I had a question about that, right? I don't know if you've looked at the latest reports on what they're doing for the PS5 Pro, but they said we are going to bring parity or feature set, right, with DX12. And that got me thinking. I said, well, I know that they use their own proprietary graphics API. Are they going to incorporate Vulkan, which would be the easier method? Or are they going to use, bring feature parity through their proprietary graphics API, which I don't see how they're going to do that by the holiday.
So I will tell you, I have no inside dope. But all the moves you see now being made in the console space, I would not be surprised if they implement the Vulkan into their proprietary.
It sounds like Vulkan. That's what I'm saying. It sounds like
the reason why I'm saying that is because Microsoft is doing their best to even turn competitors into partners. They're pimping your wares. They don't mind if you implement certain things, right? So much so that they're pimping your wares. They're selling the best they can sell on your hardware. They do not mind assisting you in traversing that divide. It's not a tit for tat competition anymore, at least not to them.
I was gonna troll. I'm sorry, MJ Dark. What was that? Oh, okay. We lost him for a second.
Oh, he's coming. He's coming. Say it one more time. We missed you.
Can you guys hear me?
We hear you. Yeah, speak.
Yeah. No, I said
you confirmed.
You confirmed Ultra Shadows on the PS5 Pro for Sea of Thieves.
well, the thing is that
he didn't hear that slander. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Listen, I'm not saying this to troll. I really do mean this. We're here asking Floodzilla about if he's missing out on ray tracing and path tracing and all this stuff, and you're showing us reshade and whatever this is, and you're basically just upping the brightness and
No. See, you're not getting it.
I'm trolling. I'm trolling. I get it. I get it. But the thing is that yeah. Okay. Let me put my monitor a little brighter.
No. Look at this person right here. Right.
Yeah.
See the person right there. Now look at it. Keep looking at him. I know you don't see it. Keep looking at him. Do you see his shadow now? Yes,
yeah.
Now let's be clear. Clear. This is done ad hoc. This is not an official implementation, and because of that, it overshadows. It goes completely crazy. But this is why you get like a 4090. This is why you'd get like ridiculous amounts of RAM, because it's not an official implementation. So if you want to run this, you can, but the overhead is monstrous. But
you're going to want that VRAM.
That's right. When you run it like this, though, it is beautiful. Like, it is so good. I've actually run this and played this before. It is noticeably different.
Listen,
they went hard on the contrast and all of that, but still, what they do is actually pretty cool. So
listen, I got my Hispanic brother Doc Dark in there saying it's all a gimmick.
Is that the emotional Doc Dark? The emotional Doc Dark?
It's the emotional one, you know.
The emotional one.
There's levels to these emotions.
There's levels to the emotions. That's right. They need to make sure the purchase is justified. So we don't need that. We don't need it. We fine with our 30 frames per second.
He's saying his 7600 is more than enough. I agree with him,
Yes.
Doc.
I got you, Doc. AMD rep.
Go ahead.
Floodzilla got you. Listen, just because the NVIDIA boys can up their brightness and in their monitor, don't worry about it, man. You're
Get out of here with that. Get out of here, John. Let's go play with your PS5 Pro, man. Get out of here with that.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, hold on. He's saying, who are you calling emotional?
There he goes again. Oh God. Thank you for proving me right, sir. I appreciate that.
We got Michael Santiago, Discord. Listen, man, that's what we love to do here. You know, we keep it real. And if I see something and I don't understand it, I'm gonna ask Kay about it. Hey, Kay, why do I smell a little manure here? Okay. And the thing is that for me personally, again, I get what you guys are saying, and I appreciate you explaining the ray tracing more in depth to me. And I have experienced it on Cyberpunk, where I had that moment that I was like, wow, this looks way better. This is transformative. But I haven't really had that anywhere else. There
aren't many. That is definitely true. There aren't many games that implement it to a point where you go, wow. So let me be honest with you. The reason why I built the system I built and I did it for what I did is because I wanted to experiment, not because, there are games that will make full use of it. I live in a world that I'm still angry that I don't care. The 30 series cards have not been used to their fullest fruition. They just never do, right? Because they always have to basically deal with the lowest common denominator, which is like a GTX 730. Here's a GTX 730, like an old school, you know what I'm saying? People still running cards like this. Right, and people want to be able to play games on things like this.
I think the Switch is running that, right?
I still got one.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you will never live in a world. You will never live in a world where all games look like this. You just won't live in that world. But there are some games that will play this way. And by the way, this is Cyberpunk 4090, fully path trace and all of that. Like, it is as realistic can be.
I thought that was Gran Turismo. My bad. Okay. No, just playing wishes. So the thing is, we got
Gran Turismo. Wish I had that ray tracing, man.
We got Dr. Ark asking you to show off a mini keyboard you use for PC. What mini keyboard?
So I think he means this guy right here. I don't use it often.
Yeah, John. He
doesn't
want your Stream Deck stuff that takes like 10 hours to set up.
Hey,
Just
man,
to press the power button. Hey, this is John Wolf. I want to press the power button. No, I'm gonna code a Stream Deck so I can put the power on.
It's
What is that?
40,
2
40
FPS?
bucks. I know.
What's going on here?
That's an AMD card. So
oh, bro, calm down.
I think is that the wrong ally? You already have the wrong ally?
Don't get slanderous. We don't need to slander in here. We don't need to slander. Continue. Yes.
So what I was gonna say, right, is, and this is for you, Dark. I know that you recently upgraded your eGPU for your handhelds to a 4070. You were in the AMD waters with the eGPU for a while. You kind of handed that off to the side, if you know what I mean. It kind of Latin quarters kicked in here, where I kind of taken that
we
from
ship
you.
worldwide, bro.
Exactly. So let me ask you, man. Like, are you like do you wish that NVIDIA kind of just made a handheld and you would go with them, or are you kind of like, are you satisfied with AMD? How's the Intel treating you on your One X player?
So I want NVIDIA to jump into the handheld space, because I think that would ignite AMD to really kind of, step up their game. I think NVIDIA has the technology. I think we're going to see that when the Switch 2 comes in, what they're working on mobile. Maybe it can be a precursor if NVIDIA wants to jump in. I would buy it day one. On the Intel side, I know Flood was given kind of, educating you guys on the Intel part. Like I told Kay, I got the X1, and if I never had an AMD handheld, I would not know the difference when it came to playing. I think they've done a great job. It kind of comes into Meteor Lake, and in the sense of, again, kind of like the Z1 Extreme, right? Where it's power hungry. So, for instance, if I want to play, let's just say, Gears of War, and on the ROG Ally, the sweet spot for Gears of War is 25, you're looking at 28 on the Intel because of the fact of that, how that chip draws power.
A little power hungry.
So far, Intel has done a great job with Arc. I couldn't play No Rest for the Wicked, and I think hours later, Intel dropped their graphics driver, and I was able to play there. And I've had a great time on this device. I want more than just AMD in this space, which it seems at the moment is very saturated. So I want Intel to make another device. Maybe go with a different partner that can definitely make those devices shine, and then have NVIDIA come in and kind of be that kind of player that comes in with all the bells and whistles. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to see what we kind of saw in the beginning of the handhelds, what we're seeing with Aya Neo, kind of diversifying that portfolio and kind of going outside the box. I know the Aya Neo at one point had the Aya Neo, I think it was called Next 2, which was the first handheld that's supposed to actually have an actual discrete GPU. We've never
not talking about the Aya Neo racist, though, right? Not the Aya Neo racist.
No.
Okay.
So I know there's been rumors about the Shadow, codename, whatever. I would love to. I think that NVIDIA has software that I think translates well at the moment. I know you asked Floodzilla what was the difference. Nothing. I've been using FSR, but when you look at the lower resolutions, and we see this on console, FSR doesn't work at lower resolutions as great.
It doesn't. That's true.
Compared to DLSS. And that's a thing that AMD can probably correct to make it scale.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, we lost him. Oh, he was trying to give AMD some love, and they sniped him. See, this is what happened.
I mean, Kay, with
talk
what
to
he was
Dr.
saying,
Stu, Agent Dr. Stu.
The doc is back. He's back. He's back. He's back. Try that again, sir.
We lost you, Dark.
Oh, and you got a lot of feedback, sir.
I've told him before not to do the podcast from the Switch, and he just doesn't listen, Kay. He just doesn't listen. So let me
try one more time, Dark. Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We got you now.
Oh yeah, sorry. I think Dark DDoSed me for calling him an emotional gamer.
Bro.
But anyway, first of all, I can do a lot of more stuff on the Switch that you can do on the ROG Ally for many hours. But no, like I was saying before, yes, I would like to see NVIDIA. I think the DLSS technology is great. It would push, I think, all manufacturers, and we would see some really, I think, competitive pricing. But not only that, we would see a lot of XeSS is great. I think I like XeSS when it comes to the upscaling, and they're right there. I just need Intel to be a little bit more hungry, and if they're really serious about this, to really bring out a more efficient APU that can definitely go at least toe to toe with AMD. And then with XeSS, I think it has something in there to offer.
Wait.
They've got great stuff, but I think the Arc launch kind of really damaged them as far as where they're now seen in the market.
Credibility.
They've done the work.
Credibility.
As far as credibility, yeah, because the Arc launch was really bad. It was really bad. And but they did put their head down. They got to work. They did go on a little tour, trying to say, "Hey, we're working on it. We're fixing everything that we can as fast as we can." They've done a good job. XeSS, and they just released a new version of XeSS up to 1.3. It's really good. You can actually get it right now, right off their GitHub page, and implement it.
Actually, believe it or not, in certain instances, it looks better and runs better than FSR. Like if you compare them, they obviously have some pixelation. They're depending on the game. I've had mixed results depending on the game. Some games it's really bad. Other games, like for example, I've been playing on console, mind you. I've been playing Immortals of Avium, and the FSR implementation there is garbage. Like especially when they move, it gets very pixelated because the game is very rough, very hard on.
Yeah.
And this is Unreal Engine 5, right? So very heavy engine, older version FSR. So you can definitely tell. And when you play it on PC and you switch it to XeSS, you definitely see a better uplift in that. Obviously, DLSS is still king. But that's because they've had more time. Well, no. Don't. This is not slander. It's because they are hardware backed.
Hold on.
XeSS is hardware back, and it does use AI image processing. It does. There's just two different implementations.
If that's the case, then it's garbage because it should be.
Hold on, because there's gonna be people listening to this like myself right now that I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand right now. This is news to me. So what you're telling me is that with an NVIDIA graphics card, I can use some of that Intel technology.
Yeah. Yes,
I didn't know that.
You can use FSR on NVIDIA.
Yeah, only NVIDIA is the one that ties DLSS to their hardware because they want to keep you in that ecosystem.
But that's also why it tends to run better because it's really hardware backed. And
so what you're saying because it's exclusive and not for the streets.
So
even to the man who brings troglodyte talk to this show, what are we doing right now?
Oh man!
So then, if we play a game on our AMD device, we can use the Intel variant to upscale.
You can use
it right now.
Yeah. Like right now on your Ally or any of these devices, you can literally go in if a game has implemented it. You can go into the game and switch it to XeSS, and it will run, and you'll see a different rendering pipeline versus what you're doing on your FSR. Yeah, you could definitely do that.
So then
you might have to wait for the ROG Ally X though, because it might crash the ROG, bro.
So I've heard Flood say it about 3 times on the show, and I've heard Dark say it about twice. When you're talking about
XeSS,
when you're talking about the Intel version, Flood, do you mean that it's as good or better as the AMD version or DLSS?
It's not as good as DLSS. But it absolutely is better than FSR 2.2.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
In certain instances, yes. I find that it depends on the game, but yes, those two are more tit for tat. They run blow for blow depending on the game you're playing.
Okay, if I was playing what's that? The Avatar game, right? Frontiers of Pandora. Which is using FSR 3.0. I would use FSR in that game instead of XeSS.
Okay. I haven't actually tried that. Well, I went into that game and I turned on my DLSS on and I turned my frame generation on and I was I'm sorry.
If you turn
FSR
on
3.0 is very well implemented in that game, and it does frame gen.
If you XeSS,
and by the way,
like the Smurfs. They look like the Smurfs.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you usually don't get that much slander from me, but my boy Flood and I go back and forth. It is what it is.
Team Red, let's get it.
Hey man, I'm
BBLFSR, bro. BBLFSR.
I'm telling you,
one day you'll measure up to Team Green.
7800 X3D. What CPU is messing with AMD right now, especially in the gaming space?
Well, let's go there.
In the gaming space, that's different.
Well, they're throwing blows with a 14900K. They are.
True.
They're trading
True.
blows.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That is very true. That is very true. Yes,
well, let's go there. Let's go there.
FSR is
Right,
Hannah Montana, and Selena Gomez is VLSL.
well, let's go there for a second, Flood.
What's your switch? iCarly's.
No, the switch. The switch is
Beyonce. Switch is Beyonce, bro.
No. The switch is the mom from Honey Boo Boo. Okay, so
okay.
So let me ask you this, Flood.
Right now.
Let me ask you this: with the recent earnings that came out for AMD, we see they're down 48%. We talked about kind of like why you kind of want them to give NVIDIA a challenge, which I think we all agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
What they're saying that there's a risk that they might just stop trying. I mean, is that a realistic? I mean, I
don't see that.
Okay.
They've been in the market way too long to just give it up, right? And again, NVIDIA's got all this great technology, but you as a consumer, as a gamer enthusiast, you are not their target market as far as NVIDIA is concerned, right? So all of this great technology that they're packaging with their consumer-based GPUs, you're second fiddle, right? Everything for them is AI. That's where they're making their money. That's all they care about.
Leonard Herrera giving away 5 memberships, sir.
Thank you.
You are a champion among men. We appreciate you, sir. You're doing too much right now, sir. Thank you. This is so awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. That is so amazing. Thank you, man. That's so cool of you. I'll tell you, Flood's not wrong. You know, he's not wrong. You want AMD, NVIDIA to get re-engaged, right? And there was a rumor recently that they started talking about, oh, well, you know, maybe we'll start offering offering APUs for the handheld. And that excited me because I really want that competition. I want, besides the Switch, I want you to offer it to all these other hardware makers, and let's see what Ioneel can do with an NVIDIA based GPU and some of these other guys. But as Flood has mentioned,
let me ask you this, okay? What do you think AMD? Why haven't they caught up on the software side? What's been the problem?
Because
they have great hardware, right?
The problem is, as the man Lucius Augustus has said multiple times, and I completely agree with him, the problem is because they don't have the market, they also don't have the money. So the size is far smaller than your NVIDIA variant, right? They have the resources to be able to have the scientists available on the hardware side and the driver coders to be ready to go. That's why every time a new game comes out, new drivers. They're always pumping out new drivers left and right. Whereas on the AMD side, good luck, right? You wait 3 months.
Let's be fair. Their cadence has picked up a lot.
But still, they are not day one. Oh, a new game has come out. We're expecting AMD drivers. No, you're lucky if you get one driver.
I remember having to look. Having to look for custom drivers to run Rage. You guys remember what happened with AMD and Rage? Of course,
oh
my God, I remember that.
I don't remember that, but all I'm hearing here with you guys talking is that AMD is Xbox and NVIDIA is PlayStation.
Oh my God! So get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Actually, you would say if you're making
they're both AMD.
Level, it's switched.
NVIDIA
I would
switch.
say AMD is PlayStation and NVIDIA is Xbox by virtue of resources. Which means like AMD and let's be honest, like what Flood is saying is absolutely true. Unless they get galvanized to re-enter the market, all this what do you call it, the AI chips and stuff that's going on, all the AI craze that's going on, it's all powered by NVIDIA chips. So they kind of don't need you anymore, game. Right, so that's why they're not so interested in jumping in that market.
Well, could Intel come in and be like? Could Intel come in and really
Intel is the best position.
CSS? And I
was so surprised. Yeah. I was so excited that they were jumping in the waters. I was excited that they were going to do that. Oh my God, this is going to be great. And then they jumped in and it went, and so far it hasn't been any better. So come on, guys, I need y'all to get in there. You know, what I don't
know. They told me that AMD just can't match because it's a Series S's fault. But
Intel is the best positioned. They did a lot of work since launch. It's
true.
Tons
still
better
not ready
than
for
it
prime
was.
Time. Still not ready for prime.
I can play any game you want, with the exception of No Rest for the Wicked.
What do you mean?
There's always a caveat.
On the Intel? It runs right now.
I haven't checked it out.
Yeah,
since
so that's what I was
tried it.
saying. I was saying before that when I first powered it on the X1, it was crashing, and literally, again, I was like, oh, here's the thing about Intel, and within hours, Intel was on spot with the new ARC drivers, and I'm running it on when I run it on the X1, I'm actually hitting right there, like those mid to high 40s, sometimes 50, depending if I go on the TDP. But yeah, I was surprised.
Careful with this guy, Flood. Careful with this guy. He was probably running it on the 1X through NVIDIA GeForce Now, and he's trying to. Careful with this guy.
Unlike you, John. I got the receipts and I come and I show up. Unlike you, I'm not like Everborn. You guys make stipulations, you make up all these little rules, and guess what? I come and deliver, man. You want me? I'll take your knees. I'll take your knees again.
All I know is that
on Twitter too.
All I know is it took you a while to come with that gameplay. You didn't do that at launch. What happened? Were you looking for the drivers?
Well, John, here's the thing, right? Why am I going to tell you when I'm going to come take your knees, man? I'm going to take them when they're most advantaged, bro.
Because
when
you're looking for the drivers.
Not at all.
It wasn't plug and play. That's why.
I could run I'll run all the Yakuza games, man. And I need those elbows delivered, your MCL, your eye sockets, everything, bro.
No ashy elbows. They need to be greased.
You ever seen Cookie Cutter? Go look up Cookie Cutter. You'll be looking like her.
Listen, man.
Wow.
You know that in my current situation, I need my elbows right now, man. So.
Oh, okay. Now enough of that. Okay.
John, you just answered your question. Why can't for your elbows, bro?
ladies and gentlemen, I think that may round out our show for today because we're heading in the slanderous direction, and we want to keep this at a brisk hour and a half. But before we go, I had an idea that I want to run by you guys, and you guys, we all you hear a lot of talk from us about this great indie game, this game that no one's heard of before. By and large, this is the brain trust, ladies and gentlemen. I get many a recommendation from the chat from Lucius Augustus. I see you in there, sir. I get a lot of recommendations from MJ Dark. I get great recommendations from John Wolf. And Flood also in the Discord, we always getting great recommendations. So I was thinking, how about we start a Steam curated list? Maybe the Gamers Playground curated list where we can all just kind of add games that we've played, and so we can point people to some games. If you're new to this situation, you can go to the list. And then there'll be some really awesome games that we have all played. We'll throw them in there. So you have a good recommendation to start your library. What do you think of that?
That's a great idea, Kay. And look, you're going to see Call of Duty Ghost in there. You're going to see Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You're going to see Call of Duty. Everything's Call of Duty from me.
Are we back on this now? And then they say, no, it's not coming to Game Pass. And then what?
Listen, Blood. Listen,
Blood. No, hold on. Blood. I will take host privileges and really quickly say, he'll say, I'm a pay pig. Look at me. I'm a pay pig. Oh, I got to buy this.
Exactly, man.
And then the minute they go, oh, he said he's a pay pig. Shut up. Put it in the Game Pass service. What's wrong with you? Like, calm down, bro.
He has his portal there as a door stopper right now, and he never uses that thing.
If you guys want to see.
It's next to his RG ally.
Don't put the game in there, and you're going to see another side of John Wolf.
Sir, another side? How many sides of John Wolf are there?
He's going to go and buy them and buy the microtransactions and everything.
Of course.
on the Switch. On Switch 2. He's like, look, I'm buying it on Switch 2.
And you know what, Kay? You kind of hurt my feelings today. You didn't ask me what I was playing, okay?
Oh, no. What are you playing? I'm sorry.
Call of Duty Mobile Warzone.
Of course he is. Of course he is. What else would he play?
You should play Splatoon, bro. Let's play Splatoon. That's a real shooter.
Nah, yeah.
Splatoon 3, man.
I mean,
might as well go with Foam Stars.
Listen, the only one I think is playing that game is probably Diddy. Okay, you're gonna find him in one of those chat rooms. So no thanks, man.
Y'all can calm down. Anyway, on that note, I think we're done. We've had a great conversation with myself, Mr. John Wolf. Flood, man, is this your first time on a podcast?
This is my first, man. Pop that cherry.
We popped this cherry, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a natural.
Pause.
Now, the other first timer that I got on the show to podcast with me was the one Infinite Umbra, and he's gone on to great things. So I expect great things from you too, sir. No pressure.
I will do my best, man.
Yes, we want to see you on there. We need you to be unlike Umbra and unlike John Wolf. Get a webcam. Let's get this going.
All right, you got it. All right, I can do that,
Let's
but
go.
you know, I got a
We'll get
720
on
right
there.
now. You wasn't going to catch me slipping.
Oh, so you're using FSR on your webcam right now. You're using FSR.
You got the FSR cam. No, but it's great having you here, sir. You fit right in. You're rolling with the punches. We appreciate you, sir. Where can people keep up with your ongoing, sir? I know you out there in them streets from time to time. You're in the Discord. What you got going on?
Twitter, man. Holla at your boy at Floodzilla. Get at me. Let's talk.
Hey,
let's talk tech.
There are very few of the AMD penguins out there. You got one right here. Follow this man.
Got some Linux questions. Holla at your boy.
Hey,
you know,
I got Linux.
You want to build a home server? Let's talk about it.
Yes. And not to be outdone, of course, the one, the only, the great. We call him Latin Quarters. MJ Dart, the handheld king, sir. Always a pleasure having you on the show. You know, what other handhelds? I find myself with some extra dollary dues from selling my ROG Ally. What other handhelds do you think I should be buying right now? Yeah, this is literally the cash from the ROG Ally. Came this weekend. What other handhelds should I be buying right now? What's going on?
I don't know, man. I see that on this Friday, I was talking to John. Aya Neo's going to announce their eGPU dock. So I'm interested in seeing that and what they're going to offer. I was telling John, is it going to be one with a video card in it, or will it be like the one dock where you can just put in your own graphics card? That would be pretty cool. And they have something called some type of retro handheld that they're keeping really kind of secretive, and it's supposed to be a really thin device. I'm not sure if it's going to be Windows or Android based. Some people are saying that it can be a dual boot, which would be pretty cool. So I'm looking out for that, but I'm excited to see the later half of handhelds. I think right now I'm excited with what I have, the Minisform V3, which I told you before. It's like a huge Surface Pro. And what I didn't say about this device is that it only has 3 power profiles, and it's called Minisforum Control. And what's cool about it is that it's tailored so that when you just on battery, it only runs at 60 hertz. You can bring it up to 165 if you want to, but it's I would say the performance is on par. They kind of made it like the Steam Deck, meaning that at 15 TDP, I can run a lot of things at 15 TDP. And the other one, again, the X1. And then recently, I just got the One X Player Pro 2, which I would say is kind of my upgraded Legion Go type of variant with 32 gigs of RAM, and kind of sits between the Legion Go and I would say the ROG Ally there. So I'm enjoying those right now. I think I have a handheld for kind of every occasion, like where I want to play certain games. So it's pretty cool.
He has handhelds like he has hats. I think I wear the blue one today.
Yeah. I know. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to play this, but you know what? Thanks, guys. I think today was the first time I'm able to kind of like sit in the show and kind of talk with everyone. Flood, it was great having you on here.
Likewise,
John,
brother.
as always, thank you. I'll give you my address so you can send those elbows. Just let you know. Okay. Thank you as well for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Of course. Absolutely. Always awesome to have you here. And by the way, salute to we hit 200 some odd people watching this, which for a small show, we're in our 30s. This is great, bro. Like, this is awesome. We appreciate y'all. This is for
are they bots?
No, they are not bots. They are appreciative gamers who come here and enjoy themselves. We are not going there, sir. Stop that.
He can't help it. I know he cannot help himself, man. He's just
damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what he's doing.
Elbows and ashy knuckles. He's just swinging them.
Yes, I think, and you know what? Just because I haven't gotten any confirmation that anybody picked it up, one last time, I'll put the
No, I think somebody did pick it up. I think it was FTW.
Oh, excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
FTW.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Very cool that you're able to do that. Appreciate you, man. I hope you have fun. Let us know how the game plays. I love that game. I think it's really awesome. I think you'll like it as well. But until next week, we will be back. Keep an eye out for our group. I've literally been in Steam, like creating it so that nobody can steal it. I'm thinking I want to call it GCP and GPG. GCP, the Gamers Circle podcast and the Gamers Playground. GCP and GPG. That'll be the name of the group.
I think that's a good idea.
We'll start filling we'll start filling all of them with all the games we love, the games we think you should play. So anytime any new handheld or anybody comes into the mix and says, "Hey, what game do you want to play?" we'll point you to the group and tell you to, try those out, because we get a lot of games. We talk a lot of games on here, so it's good to have a good record of where we think our audience would appreciate. But that's great, man. So for myself, Mr. John Wolf. By the way, John, anything extra you doing this week before we get out of here? Anything going on in your world besides more COD?
No, man. I'm gonna be playing a lot of COD because sitting around these days, if you know what I'm saying. So I'll be playing some more COD with a bag full of ice here on my side, and man, it was. I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat that came out to be with us tonight. Floodzilla, I think that you did such a great job for your first podcast, man. Definitely going to invite you back. Thank you so much. I'd love to hear your voice around various other podcasts. We'll definitely give you a shout out so that other people can invite you. MJ, even though you came at my throat today, I love you, brother. I talk to you on a daily basis. All right.
No Diddy up in here, man. No Diddy up in here, bro.
Wait a second. Wait.
No A minors here. No A minors, sir.
Yeah, hold on. It might be these antibiotics might be.
They're not like us.
These antibiotics. Okay, so but guys, thank you so much.
Calm. All right.
and Kate, let me kind of flip it on you. Where else are you gonna be this weekend? What are the shows?
Actually, I'm gonna try and keep it low because some of these days I find myself on too many damn podcasts. People, I appreciate y'all, by the way. People invite me. I was on with the great Xbox era last week. Had to fill in for the old Special Nick. I'm not quite as voluptuous as Special Nick is, but I held my own. I did my best. It was good. It was fun. We had a great time. Probably this week you'll find me like you find me every week on Wednesday nights, hanging out with Mr. Boomstick on on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends. Besides that, of course, I'll be back next week. Myself, Mr. Everborn Saga, we'll be doing some more slanderous talk on GCP. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this week. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for the support. Our viewers are growing. The channel's growing exponentially. If you happen to not have done so already, consider hitting the like button. Maybe you want to be a member. We hang out in the Discord all the time. Check out the Discord. We'll dropping more game codes and stuff in there. I think I want to start playing Hypercharge. Is that the game? Is that what it's called? Is it called Hypercharge?
Sounds like it. Yeah.
It's the toy.
Yeah, Hypercharge. Dude, that game is dope.
Really cool, man.
I picked it up during early access, and it just brought back this nostalgia of all like these 80s toys and stuff. And
I want to do that.
There's a single player now that they added. And it feels like very 80s cartoon. Again, it's a really fun game. I mean, it takes it's a basic shooter. So think about it takes the mechanics of the best way to put it is like Helldivers, right? With the shooting that you can just get in and out and just play. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a really good game, and they really finished it up right now.
Maybe I'll buy some copies and we'll pepper through our Discord and get some more folks playing. I want to start like a community game night or something. Playing.
I'm waiting for the Switch version.
It's awesome, bro. Yeah, you wait for the Switch version.
Yeah. let me say this, and I know, okay, we're trying to leave, but and MJ Dark, I think you shared this with us. Did you guys see that mod for Helldivers 2 with Master Chief in the game?
Yes.
Did you see that? Yes. That looks pretty dope. Can you imagine if they do a mod of Doom Guy and you're running around that world as Doom Guy and Master Chief? That's what I'm talking about.
That's cool, bro. That does sound interesting.
I believe Buzz Lightyear was in that same mod too. If I saw within that footage.
Maybe you should mod your game and give us some footage. We'll check it out next week. How about that?
I have the PS5 version.
You got the PlayStation version?
What? Yeah.
Did you not hear that? Who's keeping that game alive is the PC crowd? What's wrong with you, bro?
I wanted to create a PSN, man. What can I say?
By the way,
PCMR card.
A little smoke before we leave, since you said that. I hear a lot of people in the community doing victory laps because they bent the knee. Screw that. To me, the African in the room, they did not bend the knee. Make the rest of them first-class citizens, people. 177 countries, many of which are not. Many of which look like me, and for that reason, seemingly, you're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna cancel it for them, and then we'll move forward. That's BS, in my opinion. Just like the Cyberpunk situation, your store return policy still sucks, and in this instance, your ecosystem sucks. And in order to deflect attention, you're just stopping people from playing that game. That to me is terrible. Do the hard work. Let the people play the game, or don't require that thing at all and let them enjoy themselves like they should. And this has nothing to do with console warriors or any of that BS. I'm an African that cannot log into my account when I go home. That is bullshit. So there's that. I will drop that there.
Yeah, okay.
Get out of here.
They should have never sold it. Meaning, like, if they knew that was a requirement, that's something that they wanted for security, for whatever reasons, you don't sell it and then after that take away a product.
And then after a while you take it away.
Exactly.
And then you go, oh, well, since we care more about the Mao, now we're not even going to let you buy the product anymore. We're going to only insist on the countries that happen to have the ability to create a PlayStation account. And
that's
by
a big
the way,
deal. That's a big deal.
In most of Africa, where's the only place you can create an account? South Africa. I wonder why. On that note, we're done here. Have a good night, everybody. Go play some games. We'll be out in them streets being more slanderous. Until next week. Peace.
Peace.